The following story has been brought to you by StoriesToInspire.org.
I heard this a few weeks ago. It changed my life. So there was a very big tzaddik, Rabbi Levi Yitzchok Berditchev, who always found the good in every single Jew. One year, he used to daven for the Amid. He was the Chazan Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, and at the end of during Ne'ilah, he would sing a lot, and L'shan Haba B'Yushalayim, and Hashem Elokim, and because he davened and he saw that Klal Yisrael broke all the Gzeiros, he was very rabbidik. He was jumping up and down and singing, and they come to Ne'ilah, and the whole Yom Kippur, there's something very wrong. He's very depressed. Rav Levi was not ever depressed. The whole davening, he's not singing Kaddish, he's very depressed, and the people in the shul are very worried that there's a very bad Gezerah. There's something very wrong. He had Ruach HaKodesh. Something's very wrong. Towards the end, there's about a half an hour left to Ne'ilah, to Shul Yom Kippur. This peasant walks in. Farmer. Wasn't there the whole Yom Kippur. Didn't pray, nothing. Must have been working in the field. I don't know what he was doing, whatever. Comes into the shul in his weekday clothes. Sits in the back, takes a sitter, sits in the back, opens the sitter, but doesn't even look into the sitter. And he's just sitting there and he's mumbling something. 10 minutes after he gets into the shul, the whole face of Rav Levi lights up, and he starts singing, and he starts dancing. Something happened. Okay. Now they're like, Gezerah must have been broken, right? After davening, they go home, and all the Chassidim come to Rav Levi, and they're like, what happened? Like, what was going on whole Yom Kippur? We never saw you like this. He says, I'll tell you the truth, starting with Kol Nidre, Yom Kippur night, I saw in Ruach HaKodesh there was a very bad Gezerah against us, against actually the whole countryside, and that there would be terrible, terrible things happening, and a lot of Jews are going to die this year. He said, and I davened, and you were all davening so beautifully, and it was the Kor HaBarzel, there was a wall of steel, and all our prayers would not go through. Hashem did not accept our prayers. He said, and no matter what I said, no matter what kavanah, no matter what we did, no, Hashem was not accepting our prayers. And then a half an hour before the end of Yom Kippur, a peasant, you saw him in the back, a farmer walked in. Yeah, we saw him. He said, I was in a trance, so he said, I could hear his tefillah, his prayer to Hashem. I want to tell you what he said to Hashem. He said, the peasant said to Hashem, I opened the siddur, but I don't know how to read. So I don't know how to pray, Hashem. But my father, when I was a little boy, he taught me the Aleph Beis. So Hashem, I'm going to say the Aleph Beis now. Aleph Beis, Gimel, Dalet, Hey, Vav, Zayin, Ches, Tes, Yud, right? Right here, tough stuff. And the vowels, ooh, ah, eh, sound like he had a stomach ache. Then the Yom Kippur, E, right? O. And you, Hashem, you take all the letters and the vowels and you put it together, because I don't know how to put it together. I don't know how to read. And you make a prayer out of all of it. Rav Levi said, when Hashem heard this peasant's prayer, so pure from his heart, Hashem put together the letters with the vowels in such a powerful tefillah that the Satan was wiped away and the wall crushed into little pieces. And all our tefillahs were miskabel and the Gezerah was broken. You think you need to know how to read? It's good if you know how to read, but the purity and the innocence of a prayer that comes from your heart has a bigger koyach than anything else. The story doesn't end. Next year, one of the Hasidim that was there when this happened was coming, because they used to come to the Rebbe for Yom Kippur, was coming for Yom Kippur, and there was a huge storm, and he couldn't make it to Berditchev, and he got stuck in some little teeny village. And he comes into shul, and just a bunch of villagers, not even in Shabbos clothing, whatever, there, At night they didn't come to Kol Nidre at all, and during the day there was a bunch of them sitting in the shul, and they were talking, and he said to them, when are you starting the prayers? And they're like, oh no, we just fast on Yom Kippur, we don't pray. So what do you mean you don't pray? He says, we don't know how to read. We don't know how to read. We never learned how to read. We don't have a school. We don't have anything here. We don't know how to read. He goes, I have a story for you guys. He said, I knew a guy who couldn't read last year. I told him the whole stories. And he took the alphabets and the vowels and he put them together. And Hashem made a tefillah. You guys can do that. And they're like, no, we can't. Nobody taught us the alphabets. We don't even know the vowels. We don't even know the alphabets. So this chassid got up and said, okay, everyone, get in your seats. We're now going to pray to God. I'm going to say the letter, and you repeat after me. Aleph! And everyone that's in shul screams, Aleph! With an R. Oh. Beis! With an E. B. B. Went through the whole alphabet. All the vowels. This chassid who wrote the story, actually, of the year before also, he said, in all my life praying in the most holy of holies, I never felt spiritually uplifted when those people repeated the alphabets. That's the koach of a Jewish prayer. So even if you don't understand the words, you can always ask Hashem to help put your tefillah together. May Hashem be mekabel all our tefillahs. May He give you the third eye, the eye that gives you the vision to be able to see in the worst of times, in the hardest of times. There's always something good.
Enjoyed this story? Come again. Bring a friend. StoriesToInspire.org